Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We are back for another stream. This is a team selection video for game week 7. So we hope everyone's doing well. But yeah, how you doing, Jordan? All good?
Yeah, everything's good. Hope everyone else is doing well. Here we go again, another team selection for game week 7. And yeah, a lot to talk about. Exciting game week, I think, especially for those who wildcarding game week 6 didn't really work out, but hopefully game week 7 has a bit more fortune.
Yeah, let's discuss our game week 6 teams first. So we just a review for this week, and then we'll also look ahead to game week 7. So I'll quickly go. Again, it was a pretty poor week for wildcarders in game week 6. It didn't go as expected. So in goal, I had Raya after Arsenal conceded a couple of goals to Leicester. There's no clean sheets in my back line. Gabriel, Lewis, and Trent all blanking. Unfortunately, Gabriel obviously conceded 2. Lewis conceded as well. And then Trent obviously let in 1 goal as well. Liverpool with the 2-1 win against Wolves. In the midfield 3, again, Diaz and Saka both blank in their fixtures, which was a bit disappointing. But, you know, it is what it is. And Burmo carries on his amazing form with a 9-pointer after his early goal. And Semenyo did pick up a lovely goal as well on Monday Night Football. And he looked really good in that game against Southampton. And up front, I had Calvert-Lewin, who blanked. Haaland with his first blank of the season, as he was my captain, so he got me 4 points. And Solanke did get the goal against Manchester United after their 3-0 win. And on the bench, I did bench Rodgers for a 7-pointer, but it was either him or Semenyo, and they both matched each other, so I'm not too annoyed about that. I could have played him over Calvert-Lewin, but I always prefer to play the striker anyways. But Rodgers did get 7 points. Mikalenko blanked as well as Greaves. So all in all, it is 37 points for me this week. It is a red arrow. I think my rank was about 2.5, I think it was. I'm not sure. Now it's 2.6 million. So it is a red arrow. But I'm hoping to bounce back in game week 7. And I think my team looks a lot better for game week 7, the way it's set up. So I'm looking forward to see what my team can do this week. Let's bring up your team as well next, Jordan. Talk us through how your game week 6 went as well. Just give us a recap.
Yeah, it's a very nice game week for me in terms of points. Let's start off with the goalkeeper, very eventful one for Leicester, even though they lost 4-2. I think Hermanson made about 13 saves in that game, so he rescued me a few save points to be rewarded with 4. Moving on in terms of defence, the only clean sheet comes from Robinson with the 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest. Robertson and Gabriel did blank against both of their matches by conceding to Wolves and to Leicester. So in terms of the midfield, we've got Palmer, who sets his new record of scoring 4 in the first half. He gets 25 points plus the bonus points on top of that, which was very nice to help the team out for my game week. Beside him, we've got Rodgers, who continues his run of form, scoring a goal in that game against Ipswich in 2-2 draw. Semenyo as well rewarded us on Monday Night Football with his nice goal against Southampton, which was pretty nice. Next to him, we've got Salah on 10 points for scoring a goal against Wolves with bonus points. Matoma was the blank only in the midfield, which I expected to happen. And finally, the front 2 forwards, Haaland and Wood, both blanked as well. So again, my captain pick didn't work out. Seems I can't really get the captain pick right when I have a good game week, but hopefully game week 7 is better in terms of the pick. And no points on the bench, so nothing to discuss there. Yeah, in terms of the week, though, I did take a -4, which paid off massively, especially Palmer getting that 25 points, which ends me obviously on, well, it says 71, but minus the 4. That is, if I can do my maths correctly, 67. So not such a bad week. Massive green arrow. I was 5.5 million, now 4.4. So 1 million plus green arrow, which is nice to see. Kind of turning the tide a bit. And yeah, very good week.
Okay, so that's the recap, guys, for game week 6. Let's look ahead to boss teams now for game week 7, and also discuss transfer plans as well, because I do have a couple of free transfers for this week. So in goal, if you bring up my team and defense. So I am starting Raya. Now, there was a slight scare ahead of game week 6. A lot of people thought he wouldn't start. As we know, Arteta does like to tell a fib about injuries. So we all saw Raya was fine. He did concede 2 goals against Leicester, but I'm glad I've got him anyway because he's the one I wanted long term because I've got the nice fixtures. He's got Southampton at home, so I'm hoping there is a clean sheet here. It's one of the better fixtures he'll have all season, I think, in terms of a clean sheet. Gabriel is in the defense as well. He's got a nice fixture at home. Again, it is a fixture where I'm expecting Arsenal to keep a clean sheet. Probably the biggest chance of a clean sheet out of any team this game week as well. So it's a good fixture for them. Hopefully, Gabriel can get me something on a set piece as well, as he has done so far this season with a couple of goals. Lewis has Fulham at home. Now, Lewis looked really good in the Champions League game, getting very advanced and forward. I'm hoping he starts. So it's one I'm going to have to keep an eye on if he starts, but I do have bench cover. As I know, when I bought Lewis in, I always knew there's a small possibility of him being benched, but I do think he will start against Fulham. And Man City have a really nice run of fixtures coming up, so I'm happy to own him for the next couple of games, assuming he starts. And he did look good in the Champions League. Trent has Crystal Palace away. It's an early kickoff for Liverpool. So it is a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday, which we know isn't a great kickoff time for Liverpool or for a lot of teams. To be honest, it's a tough sort of time. It is an away game as well for Liverpool, traveling down to London for that fixture. So be interesting to see how Trent does because Liverpool played yesterday in the Champions League against Bologna. Liverpool did win 2-0 in the end. And Trent did play about 85 minutes. He was subbed off for the last 5 and Bradley came on. So Trent will be fine. He will start. And hopefully there's a clean sheet for Liverpool. But, Palace haven't started off the season that great. But I'm hoping, but early kickoff times makes it a bit of a tricky game as well as it's away as well. Moving into the midfield now. This is what I'm currently lining up. So I've got Saka, who's got Southampton. Again, I think it's a really nice fixture for Saka, and I'm very happy to own him. I think he can be a really good captaincy option, guys, if you don't want to go Haaland. I think he's got a great fixture. I know he hasn't been scoring a lot of goals this season. He only has the 1 goal, but it's the best fixture for him. Southampton, for me, are the team to target. They look like the weakest team in the league so far. So I'm very happy to own Saka, and I think he can go really big in this game, and I expect Arsenal to put 2 or 3 past Southampton. And Bumo, what's there to say about him? He's on fire this season. He's got Wolves at home. We know Wolves have had a very tough run of fixtures, so Wolves' form is maybe a bit. And look at their points and their league position I think it doesn't tell the whole story because they've not been that bad. They just played really tough games against the likes of City, Liverpool, etc. So I'm happy to own Mbeumo, and I'm hoping he can carry on his scoring streak. Semenyo has Leicester away. Now, Semenyo is one I could potentially bench. We will come on to that in a second. But he's got Leicester away. Rodgers as well, another one. One of those 2 I could bench. So I will come on to that. Is one thing I'm sort of debating which one to play because I've also got obviously DCL currently on the team as well. So Semenyo looked really good. Bournemouth looked good, and he is Leicester away. So I could be tempted to play him because he's a newly promoted team up against another newly promoted team, sort of, or not newly promoted team, but Bournemouth, are one of those teams that have just come up recently, and it could be one of those games where there's a lot of goals. So, yeah, I'm happy to see how Semenyo plays. I thought he looked really good in the Monday night fixture, and Leicester away should be interesting. Rodgers, on the other hand, has a tougher game against Man United at home. Now, we know Aston Villa played yesterday as well, and they got a big win against Bayern Munich, 1-0 with Duran scoring. And I believe Morgan Rodgers did play the full 90, I think it was as well. Yes. Yeah, he played full 90 minutes. So I think he's one of the key men now in that midfield for Bayern Munich, for Aston Villa. So I don't see him being dropped out. I think he's one of the key men, and Emery trusts him. So I think he'll start against Man United. I think it's a decent fixture for him. Man United play tonight in about 20 minutes against Porto, so we'll have to see how that goes. But I'll be more than happy to play Rodgers. I think he's got potential in this one, but he also could be one I look to bench potentially. I will come on to why as well in a sec. Luis Diaz also played, I think, 70 minutes. Just want to double check. I think he played 72 minutes yesterday against Bologna. Now, Luis Diaz did start, which was maybe a surprise to people because we thought he'd probably get rested. Gakpo might start and then Diaz for the league game. But yeah, Diaz did play 72 minutes and then Gakpo came on for the last 20. So I am slightly worried about Diaz as a Diaz owner, whether he gets benched for this one. There's definitely a possibility, and I've got transfer plans. My transfer plans surround Diaz, to be honest. If I find out that he's benched, because we will hear Liverpool team news, because it is a 12:30 kickoff, Diaz will be going out my team if he's not starting. So I'll come on to what I'm going to do in a sec. Then up front, to complete the team, I have got Haaland as well. Yep, so I got Haaland and Solanke up front. So Haaland, again, I think he's a standout captain pick against Fulham at home. There's no way I'm changing it. Saka, potentially, you could look at, but with Haaland's form, I know he blanked last game against Fulham, but that's not going to fool me. I think he can go score a hat-trick against Fulham, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm locked on Haaland. And yeah, he's the best option for me by far for the next 4 or 5 weeks now as a perma cap. Solanke partners him against Brighton away. I'm very happy to own Solanke. I was confident that he'd score against Man United. He went and scored against United. He's just come on now in the Europa League for the last couple of minutes, I think. So he will start against Brighton. We know he's the main man up front for Spurs. They don't really have anyone else. Werner, etc. isn't great. And Brighton have just conceded 4 goals to Chelsea. So I think there'll be goals in this Spurs-Brighton game. I can see like a 2-2 or something easily. So I'm happy to own Solanke. And yeah, I'm being very impressed with Solanke. And the next coming fixtures are very happy to own him. In the bench as well, Fabianski, Calvert-Lewin, Mikalenko, Greaves. The only decision I have to make is, do I start Calvert-Lewin, who's got Newcastle at home? Newcastle looked really good against Man City. Sorry. So there is that there. They looked a lot better. Do I play him? I know he's a striker, so I do usually like playing the forwards because every time I bench a forward, they score. So I'm tempted to play Calvert-Lewin ahead of Semenyo or Rodgers, but the way Rodgers playing recently, Man United have been pretty poor. Semenyo looked good on Monday Night Football. I could bench Calvert-Lewin for this one. So at the moment, I am thinking of probably just leaving it as it is. You see on the screen. So 3-5-2. I've also got 0.4 million in the bank, and I've also got 2 free transfers as well. And as you guys, as I said earlier, my plan revolves around Luis Diaz and whether he starts. And Liverpool 12:30. If we hear Luis Diaz is going to sit on the bench, I'll come on to my transfer plans in a second. So I'm just going to sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, just a quick question. If we do find out there's early team and Luis Diaz ain't in the team, would you prefer then to play Calvert-Lewin over him if that is the case, or are you looking to transfer him out completely for someone else?
Yeah, I think I would transfer Luis Diaz out because, as you know, when I even transferred Luis Diaz in on my wildcard, I did say he's not a long-term option for me. He had that really nice fixture against Wolves, and the Wolves have struggled. And I thought, if he scored, then maybe, I changed my mind and I keep him. Maybe he's knee-jerky after his blank. But I did think to myself, he's not a long-term pick for me. He was a couple of weeks punt. And if he is benched, I could be tempted to remove him because I'll come on to it. I'll show you why, what I'm thinking. So this is my team. If you want to just sort of
swap
overlay.
Yeah.
So I have 0.4 million in the bank. Let's say Diaz goes out, and let's say we hear early team news he's benched. So what I can do, and I wouldn't usually do this. Let me show you. But because of the sort of performance and how good this player is, I am tempted to bring in Cole Palmer. Now, as you guys know, I wasn't thinking of bringing in Palmer for Saka. I always said I wouldn't sell Saka for Palmer at all. It's not in my thoughts. So I like Saka's fixture, but there is a way I can get to Palmer. So obviously we know what Palmer's done. 25 pointer. Is it knee jerky? I don't think it is because he's got 8 points against West Ham. He got 17 against Wolves. And when you watch Chelsea, he is sort of the main man. Everything sort of runs through him. And again, the fixture is really good. I think Nottingham Forest at home is a good fixture, even though Forest have been really solid defensively. Palmer's fixture I've mentioned as well isn't great, but I think he's one of those players, even in these fixtures, if Chelsea are to do anything, it's most likely going to be coming Palmer. So I can get to Palmer, and that leaves me with 2.4 million short from the price to afford him. So the only way I can get to him, and I can't believe I might even consider this because I said there's no chance I sell this player.
No way.
That is the main guy, Trent. So the only way I can get Palmer in is if I sell Trent, really, or unless Haaland. Obviously, I'm not going to sell Haaland, and I'm not really going to sell Saka because he's fixtures Southampton. Trent's the only one I think I could sell. And Trent's fixtures with Liverpool do turn slightly: Palace, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Villa. Now, I've been impressed with Liverpool's defense massively this season. As a Liverpool fan myself, Liverpool's defense has been really, really good. I mean, compared to last season, the 2 goals conceded for Liverpool now in the league so far, and they've looked a lot better. Some games they're not completely there, but I've been impressed with Liverpool's defense. So I'm not keen on taking Trent out completely because he was one of those players I wanted to keep for the whole season. But if any time I'm going to do it, I can get rid of him 4-game stretch and then bring him back in when I've sold Saka, when I've got money into the team again. So if I take out Trent, that leaves me with 4.6, right? And when I look at the defenders for that price, there is a couple that I can bring in. So let's go to 4.6. Top of the list that I'm looking at is Van der Ven. So we know Van der Ven had a 11-pointer against Man United after his assist. He has had 2 assists so far this season. Again, with Spurs, I'm not massively impressed with their defense in terms of clean sheets. They don't keep many. But he's one of those players that likes to go forward, and he's cheap. He plays 90 minutes pretty much every game. And he's the only one sort of player I can afford. I can go to Mazraoui. I can go to I think I can go to the Wolves defender as well, 8 Nuri. I think I can afford 8 Nuri. He's at 4.4. So if I need to save even more money, he had 1 goal, 1 assist. Defensively, again, he's more for the return. So at the moment, I've got Van der Ven in there, and that leaves me with 0.1 short. So 0.1 left in the bank. But that is a big move. I'm taking out 2 Liverpool assets, Trent and Diaz. No Liverpool left in my team to bring in Palmer and Van der Ven. I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, you don't really. I've not spoken about these moves to you. What do you make of these sort of moves?
Surprised and shocked, interested all at once with this. I never saw this coming at all for this move. It is quite fascinating that you've decided to take Trent out, especially the backing you had for him, obviously.
Yeah.
Through the game weeks.
I'm still not comfortable taking Trent out. I'll be honest. I think Trent is. Is a double digit. Any week he can give you a double digit. So I'm not completely 100% taking him out. But Palmer, he got 25 points last week. If you captain him, that's 50 points in a single game week. If you captained him, I just think, is Palmer now one of those players that we have to have in our team? And his rank 45%. I think it's going to shoot up even more. And my plan, the way I'd bring Trent back into the future. So the way I'd bring Trent back in. So let's say I take, I don't know, him back out, so Van der Ven back out and restore Trent. I'd remove Saka eventually, and then let's say I'll whatever midfielder for 7.6. That's how I'd bring Trent back in if I want Trent back in. If I see Trent's doing really well, or if someone ideally I don't want to sell Trent, but I think Palmer against Forest and having Saka as well, because a lot of people don't have Palmer and Saka and Haaland, I don't think. So that could be a move I make. And Van der Ven isn't a bad shout, just to have as a 4.5 player. And I could start him most weeks and then rotate him with Greaves and Mikalenko, depending on, who's got the better fixture. Because he's got some decent fixtures coming up as well, Jacob Greaves.
So you think it's not worth waiting for Palmer when his fixtures do swing again? And it's better to bring him in when he's not on Forest?
To be honest, because I've got 2 free transfers as well, and my wildcard didn't go great. Again, it depends on Diaz, because if Diaz is starting, I could be tempted just to go with Diaz and play Trent, and I think that's fine. I think I can get away with it. If I hear Diaz is bench 100%, which we will know, I think the team news will come out, and I have a feeling Diaz is going to be benched. Unfortunately, guys, for those that own Diaz, I think there's a big possibility he does, and if that's the case, getting in Palmer, who starts against Forest at home after his 25-pointer. Plus, you get Van der Ven. Obviously, he's not as good as Trent. I mean, would you make these moves in my position? You just wildcarded. You got 2 frees, Palmer and Van der Ven in for Trent and Diaz. Assuming Diaz doesn't start. Let's say he doesn't start.
Yeah, assuming he doesn't start, it kind of makes sense to move Palmer in if you can get to it, which you can do. It does mean downgrading Trent to a 4.5, which is Van der Ven isn't so bad either. It just seems very weird not going without any Liverpool assets going forward. I kind of would like at least one in there, but if it is to get Palmer in, then I think it is at some point. We have to sort of see when is the right time to bring Palmer in after this 25-pointer, because if we wait too long, we could miss out on more points from him. So maybe there is some urgency to fit him in your team and just say you can do that.
Yeah, I'll get the comments as well. Let us know. Would you do these 2 moves? I've got 2 free transfers. Would you take out Trent and Diaz to bring in Cole Palmer and Van der Ven? Do you think it's worth it? Am I being knee-jerky? Obviously, Palmer's just scored 25 points. Robert says, hey, guys. Hope you're well, Robert. Captaining Haaland this week, says Manish. I'm no longer doing transfers because I keep making a mistake and overthink. Yeah, I mean, you've got to make transfers. I mean, if you're happy with your bus team, I guess you can just keep rolling because you can roll up to 5 this season. Hi guys, thoughts on Saka to Palmer or Trent to Konate? I don't like Saka to Palmer personally, as I think Saka has a better fixture. Now, some people might say Palmer is the better player for this week, more likely to score, but I wouldn't want to sell Saka before Southampton. That's why I've done it in another way
Yeah.
around it, where I've sold Diaz and downgraded Trent, which even though I'm not even comfortable doing because I don't really want to sell Trent, if I'm being honest. B-Bar says, I will bring Johnson in Madueke's place. I think that's a good move.
It is a very good move. Johnson 4 out of 4 for his team, and Madueke, since his hat trick, hasn't really had that much success. I think he had an assist in the last game week or so, but he hasn't been explosive since that hat trick.
Yeah, no, I never liked the Madueke move when people were considering him. We did say he's probably one you may regret. Start Van de Ven or Porro. Probably Porro, I think more attacking threat. Should I do -4 to get Haaland? Because if he rises, I can't get him and I have the team I want. The transfers would be Watkins, Trent, and Salah for Haaland, Guardiola, and Burmo. It's a tough one. I think, if you're going to captain Haaland, then I think it's worth the -4. And if you haven't got Haaland at this point, I think you need to have him personally. For the next 5 at least, he'll make up the points. So bring him in for sure, Soros. Do you think Rodgers will score more than Wood? I think Wood looks like he had the chance to score.
Well, Wood has Chelsea away and Rodgers has Man United at home. I think in terms of Man United, I think I favour Rodgers to score more, at least in Game Week 7, than Chris Wood will against Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I prefer probably Rodgers, even though I do like the playing striker normally. But I think Man United, again, we'll watch how Man United look. If Man United look good today, then maybe you can consider it and then maybe play Wood.
I think because of that midweek fixture tonight against Porto, Man United are going to be very tired. There's going to be a lot of work against that team, especially when they're playing away, travelling. They've got to travel back, got to get ready for the Premier League weekend rest. It's going to be a lot of let's say tiredness in that team.
And Braden also said, do you think Captain Palmer will take the risk? I mean, I don't hate captaining Palmer. I mean, he just scored 25 points, but I'm not willing to go with anyone bar Haaland right now. So I'm locked on Haaland. Palmer's a good shout. Saka's a good shout as well, I think. But it's hard to sort of obviously ignore the form of Palmer. But yeah, Jordan, your team. Let's bring up your boss team and then also talk us through your transfer plans, please, as well.
Yes, so here here's the blank template of the team, but let's show you the goalkeeper and defence that I'm lined up with. So in goal is Hermansen, the Leicester goalkeeper, who's got Bournemouth at home. And I was quite impressed from last game. Hermansen keeping Arsenal at bay from his 13 saves, even though Leicester lost 4-2. I think he did really well. There were some massive key saves he did, and that I kind of sent some positivity towards my way because Leicester's fixtures now do swing after the Arsenal game, and now there is a lot of green fixtures there, and hopefully some clean sheets coming for Leicester now. But moving on to the back three, it is double Leicester defence. So I've gone with Fies in place for Robinson because obviously he has Man City. In terms of clean sheet though for Bournemouth, I'm not sure. I think maybe Leicester could nick one because they aren't such a bad team. I'd say they're the best team out of the newly promoted ones that I've seen. And they can cause trouble like we saw against Arsenal near the end of the game. But I'm not confident of a clean sheet, but I have to play Fires over Robinson. And obviously I don't like the other fixture where obviously Keane has Newcastle at home. So I have to see how that goes. I could be tempted to play Keane just to be different because I do have Hermansen already covering Bournemouth fixture. Next team, we've got Robertson, who's got Crystal Palace away. Obviously, I need to include a Liverpool cover there in defence, so Robertson is the man. Kind of annoyed from last time because Robertson could have had an assist in that Wolves game if obviously Szoboszlai finished his chance off. But I like how Robertson does have some slight attacking threat on that left-hand side for Liverpool. So Crystal Palace away could be hopefully a nice game where he gets a clean sheet at least. And finally, to complete the back three is Gabriel, who we've spoken about against Southampton at home. The outstanding fixture for Arsenal and Game Week 7, where a clean sheet is the most likely. I know Ball, I think he won against Southampton. They did nick one in that 3-1 win. But with Arsenal's defence, arguably one of the best defences in the Premier League, there should be a clean sheet in there for Gabriel. If not, maybe another attacking threat from set piece. Moving on to the midfield five, so we've got Palmer, who has Nottingham Forest at home. Oh, sorry. I didn't show it on the screen, sorry. Yeah, we've got Palmer, who has Nottingham Forest at home. He is the vice pick for this game week, just for fun and giggles. I don't think Haaland shouldn't start. So, yeah, Palmer vice. Next team is Rodgers, who's got Man United at home. And I will be keeping a close eye, obviously, on Man United, how they play tonight, and seeing who obviously plays for Man United in terms of the players, because it will be interesting how they react to Aston Villa, especially after their big win yesterday against Bayern Munich. Next team, we've got Semenyo, who's got Leicester away. I'll say it's a relatively tough one, but there should be goals involved in that fixture, and hopefully Semenyo keeps his back-to-back returns for him, hopefully, if he does get something against Leicester away. Obviously, next person next to him is Salah, who's got Crystal Palace away. Not sure what to make of this fixture because Crystal Palace did drew to Man United, so I don't know whether this be a high scoring game or not for them, especially playing away at Crystal Palace, but should be an entertaining one to watch. And finally, we've got Matoma, who has Tottenham at home, and again, I don't really see much coming from that fixture. Brighton have had a massive downturn of form. It seems like they've dwindled since the beginning of the season. But yeah, not very hopeful with Matoma in that fixture. And finally, to reveal the front two and the bench, we got Haaland, who is my captain pick. I am sticking to my guns. I'm not switching captain again. Even after he blanked against Newcastle, I was still going to captain him against Fulham, and hopefully he can give me something for in terms of captain picks this game week. And finally, alongside him, we've got Chris Wood, who has Chelsea away. Tough one. He's playing against Palmer, so I don't expect both of them to get a return, but it would be nice if Wood also is part of the action in that fixture too. And on the bench, we've got the non-playing goalkeeper for Brentford, who's got Wolves at home. Keane is the first bench, got Newcastle at home. And Robinson has obviously Man City away. And the non-playing forward Wheatley for Man United has Aston Villa away. Now, I do have no money in the bank, so it is a bit of an issue with if I need to get someone that's obviously more expensive than the players I have in my 11. But I do have one free transfer as well. Now, I was considering rolling, but I'm still unhappy with Matoma in that midfield. Not quite feeling the vibes of Brighton assets, especially with the fixtures being turned in terms of difficulty. So I am going to make a transfer this week. So I'm going to take Matoma out. And the player I'm going to bring in is maybe underlooked a bit for this game week, or not, but it is McNeil for Everton, who has got Newcastle at home. It isn't really the fixture I would consider bringing him in for, but I don't like Matoma against Tottenham at home, even though Newcastle at home that McNeil has looks a bit hard on paper. I just like his goal involvements each game week. I mean, against Crystal Palace, 0.46, 0.47 against Leicester, and 0.89 against Aston Villa. So he has very high goal involvements, and Everton do score goals in their games. And it wouldn't surprise me that Everton do score 1 or 2 against Newcastle. Their away performance isn't as good as the home ones, so there is that to consider as well. And it's a nice differential. And Dwight McNeil was really cheap at 5.6 million, and he's 5.6% owned as well. So if he does get anything from that game, it does a huge amount for my rank. Obviously, that leaves me 1 million in the bank with 0 transfers. So again, it leaves me kind of some money to play around with if I want to upgrade maybe Robertson to Trent. I could possibly do that now, or any other such player in the team if I find that the fixtures for them do turn and their lack of form persuades me otherwise. But yeah, that is what my transfer plans are, and that's the team that looks like for Game Week 7.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, interesting move. Obviously, McNeil doing really well. A couple of weeks, I think he got a brace, didn't he, last week? Let us know what you guys think as well of our moves. Let us know also, guys, what your transfer plans are for Game Week 7. Are you going to make a move? Are you going to roll? Let us know. But I think we will probably wrap it up here. It's just 8 o'clock on the dot now. So Man United have just kicked off. I know you probably want to watch that game, Jordan.
Oh, yes. Hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah. Also, guys, please make sure you do hit that like button. It just helps support the channel. If you are enjoying the content, we do appreciate all your likes. Also, make sure you are subscribed to our channel as well. So, if you're new around here, if you're watching for the first time, make sure you are subscribed. So, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video on your socials as well if you can. And yeah, we're out. And Jordan will be taking the deadline stream as I won't be available this Saturday. But make sure you do tune in for Jordan, show him some love, and join the deadline stream. Should be a good one.
Yeah, and obviously thank you guys for watching. Take care. Enjoy the football tonight. Plenty of action and excitement. But until then, we'll see you Saturday for the deadline stream.